I'm responding to this preacher again. You guys know how this goes, so let's dive into it.
Through the pride of his countenance. Why don't the wicked seek after God? If you're an atheist watching this right now, why have you allowed yourself to believe such falsities, such fairy tales? Because you have a lifestyle that you want to live.
If you believe that the Bible is literally true, as I find too many Americans do, you believe in a creation story. You believe in a flood myth that one 600-year-old man built a boat big enough to save the entirety of humanity and the rest of the animals from a worldwide flood. You believe in Samson, a superhuman. You believe in giants. You believe in a Leviathan. You believe in angels fighting demons. You believe in a dying God, and depending upon your view of the book of Revelation, you could believe in dragons and other mythological creatures. You believe all of these literal myths, and you have the audacity to tell me that I am living in a fairy tale because I do not accept these things. I am delusional because I see no rational indication that these things are true. Not only that, but you are damn sure as to why I feel this way. According to you, I am an atheist because I don't want to live the way God wants me to live. I just reject God's authority. And you didn't come to this conclusion by actually talking to atheists, did you? Or did you come to this conclusion just by parroting other religious people who have said the exact same thing, or reading it in your holy book? If God's authority was the only objection I had, I would not be an atheist. That would be stupid. I would be a Satanist. But I don't believe in God. I genuinely don't believe in God, because I see no indication that there is one.
And I am not an atheist because atheism declares that order came out of chaos and consciousness came out of inconsciousness or unconsciousness.
Okay, why is that false?
How is that possible? That order came out of chaos. One philosopher or one professor from Cambridge University, a professor of astronomy, he said the likelihood of Darwinian evolution is the same, of existing and being true, is the same likelihood as a tornado sweeping through a trailer park and leaving in its wake a 747.
You kinda messed up that analogy. This was talking about the probability of cellular life forming on its own, but that's besides the fact that that's not how it worked. Cellular life didn't just pop out of nowhere. It came from precursors to cells, which came from precursors to those. And if you keep going back far enough, you will find something that is so simple that it can, and was, formed spontaneously in the conditions of the early Earth. But you don't have to accept evolution or abiogenesis in order to be an atheist. If you think that evolution and abiogenesis is ridiculous, that still doesn't mean that there is a God. You'd still have to have proof of that in itself.
Where did it all begin? Oh, a Big Bang. Okay, well, what banged? I don't know.
And that's bad. Why? We don't know everything about everything. We don't know the exact details of the origin of the universe. So what? Therefore God? We don't need to know everything in order to not have evidence of this one outrageous claim. The fact that we don't have a 100% certain explanation for this doesn't mean that God fits in the gaps.
If you want me to prove the existence of God, it's very simple. If we were walking through the woods, and let's say we didn't see anything as complicated as this, let's say we came across a painting of a rose. Would you, as an atheist, say, it happened through chance? All of these things came together, and over time, they just appeared. In fact, you would consider someone to be ridiculous to make such an assertion because of the complexity and the intelligence that had to go into making such a painting. All it is paint on canvas. Then why do you look at an actual rose and think it took any less intelligence?
Okay, simple explanation. When we see things that are obviously manufactured or handmade, we know that they are manufactured or handmade because we are familiar with the processes of manufacturing and hand-making things. But the fact that we make things doesn't mean that everything we see is made in the same way. See, the complexity of something doesn't indicate that there is an intelligence behind it. Instead, it indicates that there is some sort of process in which it formed. And we know of those processes. Of course, we know of manufacturing, but we also understand evolution by natural selection. And we also understand the formation of planets, of stars, and of galaxies. There are better explanations for these things than an ethereal dictator was behind it. And we know who he is and what he wants from us.
Would it be possible, if you are struggling with atheism in any area of your life, would it be possible, if you ran across this, would it be possible over any period of time, millions, billions of years, would you run across this and say, wow, this thing climbed out of the ooze and was formed over years, and this delicious liquid was placed inside an aluminum can that formed around it and sealed it perfectly, and then supernaturally 2.3 billion years later a little tab formed on the top so that we could get access to the goodies that are on the inside? It would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? So, do you need any more proof than its existence that there's a maker? You need no further proof. In order to prove to you that there is a painter, all you need to do is see a painting. In order to prove that there is a builder, all you need to do is see a building. In order to prove that there is a soda maker, all you need to do is see a can of soda. Here we have banana. Do I need any other evidence of a creator than to look at such a brilliant creation?
Yes, of course, your ridiculous analogy is ridiculous. But we understand that cans don't reproduce. They have never reproduced. Much less do they change as they reproduce. So no, obviously this isn't what happened. But we, organisms, do reproduce, and we do change as we reproduce. And there are natural pressures that pressure us to change in a certain way. When we have mutations that are beneficial for our environment, those mutations fare better than those without mutations. So it's likely that these mutations are going to become more prevalent. And if these mutations add the complexity of the organism, then yeah, we could very well see more and more and more complex organisms. But it's not like our bodies are perfect in any way. If you believe that this is ridiculous, I'm going to need more explanation as to why you think so than just soda cans couldn't do it, how could we?
From Genesis to Revelation is not a book of creation. It's not a book to try to prove to atheists that God exists. The tree outside your house proves that. This proves to you the love of a God who is willing to come through your ignorance and come through mine in order to help me, not just in the past, but even today. He has to break through these things in order to express his love for us.
Right. God's love for us, that he willingly gives because he's generous and merciful. But if we don't accept it, then he's going to throw us in a lake of fire so that we can burn alive eternally. We will constantly scream out in pain, hoping for death, but never be able to find it, only to just be continuously burning and burning for eternity, punishing us infinitely worse than we could ever possibly deserve for our finite crimes. But if we are the way God wants us to be, we don't have to go through that, because he loves us, right? If I was in a relationship with somebody and that's how it worked, I wouldn't feel loved. I would feel manipulated. And if a ruler did this, I wouldn't feel like this was a loving ruler. I would feel like this is a dictator.
I am not an atheist because there is no hope in this life or beyond in atheism. There is no hope. There is no reason. There is no meaning to being here, to living this life, to trudging on. Why are you even here? I've got good news for you, because there is a purpose for you. Atheism provides no purpose, but God does.
Why do you absolutely need something external in order to affirm that your life has value or meaning? Can it not have value or meaning within itself? And even if it can't, if without a God there's absolutely no hope, just complete 100% nihilism in every way, that doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that it sucks. Reality sucks sometimes. If our lives are just meaningless, it's meaningless. So what? I'm not going to believe in fairy tales because it makes me feel better about myself. Because I want to find out what is real, what is actual, what is rational, what is probably true. And I don't see religion as being that. Granted, it could be a coping mechanism if you can't handle the fact that there's no universal meaning or purpose to your life. So what? As far as I'm concerned, I continue living my life because in some way, I can be happy. That's really all I need. I don't have much existential dread. I don't need a grand purpose. I don't. I want to live my life because I like living it. Do I really need anything more than that?